Looking now at some other things you can do. Obviously, we're going to want to do something about this title here. That's not very descriptive. Median rent from and to. All you have to do is double click on it, and then you can edit it. And let's change this to something a little more descriptive. Maybe like maybe median gross rents in Nashville area counties. That's pretty good. Um, and we also probably want to tell people where this data came from. It's always in the interest of transparency. It's a good idea to tell visitors where your data came from. So let's add a subtitle. See, I can over here in the chart editor. This chart and axis titles area came up when I double clicked on the chart title. If I change this chart title drop down to chart subtitle, then I can specify a little subtitle to put underneath the main title. And let's go with this. Let's go source. Let's capitalize that. U.S. Census. Um, and then maybe tell people something about what those lines on the chart represent. Lines show the 90% confidence interval. Okay. A lot of people aren't going to know what that is, but the nerdy types who know something about stats and look at your chart, they're going to know what it is, and that's who this line is for. You don't really have room here to explain what a 90% confidence interval is and all that sort of thing. You can do it over in the story, perhaps, but let's put that on the chart for those who know what they're looking at. By default, the both titles are shown in this kind of a grayed out font. You can keep that if you want. I'm not crazy about it. I'm going to double click on it again and change the title text color from auto to just dark black. See how that I think that makes it look a little nicer. You can also boldface it if you want by hitting the B. Um, and this subhead, I think I'll do the same to that and make it black, but I think I'm not going to boldface it because I don't want it to compete too much with the main title. Um, so now the graphic has a nice descriptive title to tell people what it's about. I could leave this county label down here on the horizontal axis, but it's kind of obvious those are counties. At least anybody who's familiar with Rutherford County or with Nashville area geography. If I wanted to take it out, I could just double click on it and just delete the word county, and that's going to leave a little bit more room for the chart. Um, so let's do that. Let's see. We could. What else could we do? Um, uh, these lines here look a little bit weak. One thing you can do is you can double click on, let's say, the yellow line. Okay, see now it's selected, so I can do stuff with it, and I can add. I can make it a little bit thicker if I wanted to. I'm not going to do that in this case, I think, but you could. And I think what I'm going to do is add little markers to it. By default, those markers are going to be circles. You can choose other shapes if you want, but I'll stick with circles. And I think I'm going to make the size of each circle about 7 pixels. That's going to be a little bit wider than the default line. So see what that did? That added this little circle to the line. So that gives people something to kind of look at other than just a line. And let's do the same for the red line. Let's see, where's that? There it is. Again, I'm going to leave that as a circle and add change the point size of each circle to 7 pixels. And now I've got kind of an indicator of the center point of each of those columns. I think it looks a little bit better. And we're still in compare mode, so when people mouse over a column, they still get all the information. But notice how the symbols in the key up here have changed. These were just flat lines. Now they're these little circles that correspond to the circles here in the line. So that's another nice thing you can do. I think the chart is pretty much done now. This last step you don't have to do, but I want to show you that it's an option. there's a good argument to be made for leaving the scale of something that you're measuring in a chart, for making the bottom of the scale the minimum possible value. In this case, that would be zero rent dollars per month. And what that does is that helps someone who's looking at the chart get a realistic sense of the numbers that are in the chart. However, one sort of disadvantage of that approach is notice that it's a little bit difficult to see the difference between, say, Rutherford and Davidson County's error margin. If you want to emphasize that a little bit, let people get a little bit more information there, you can double click on this vertical scale, just like that, and you can change the minimum to from 0, which is the default here, to a value that's going to perhaps kind of zoom in a little bit. So the smallest rent we have no rents that are less than $500, right? So let's if you set the minimum value to $500, watch what happens. There we go. So what you've essentially just zoomed in a little bit, and now it's easier to see how the error margins for, say, Sumner and Rutherford County compare. They're actually about the same width, and it's easier now to see that there's some overlap there, that the minimum for Rutherford County falls between the minimum and maximum for Sumner. So there's probably, rents are about the same in Sumner as in Rutherford, even though Rutherford's actual median is a little bit higher. Those ranges overlap. Likewise for Williamson and even for Robertson. The real difference in the chart, if you compare the error margins, is probably between everybody else and Williamson County. Williamson really has a substantially higher median rent than everybody else. So that's a way to make the chart look a little bit better. I think this is probably ready to put on our WordPress site now. So we'll look at that sharing and embedding process in the next video.